I'm Allison of Bebop and Knit. Today I'm going to be showing you how to graft together your Mobius or Infinity Cowl. For the purpose of this video, I'll be showing the Mobius twist, but the same principle will work for the Infinity Cowl without the twist. Alright, here we go. Alright, so step one is placing your live stitches back onto the needles once you've blocked. I do recommend blocking your the tube that you've knit before doing the grafting, because it's a lot easier to dry a flat tube than it is to dry a twisted Mobius cowl or even just an Infinity cowl. Your also your Kitchener stitch will look a lot better if it's been blocked first. So this is your live stitches side. You picked up your stitches, pulled out that scrap yarn or cable or whatever you're using, and then on this side you'll be putting your needle back in, picking up those stitches that you had the provisional cast on. All right, so that's step one. You'll also notice that normally it would be out long like this, but since it's a long tube, you can't really see it in the video. I'll fold it so you can see. Your needles are going to be facing the same direction. Okay. All right, for step two, you're going to make sure your live stitches that you picked up, so the end of your tube where you finished knitting, is going to be at the top, okay? And your provisional cast on where you started is going to be at the bottom, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to twist the bottom half of the tube so that the bottom needles are now facing the opposite direction from your top needles. Okay, so we're gonna twist, and now as you can see, if I fold this in, your bottom needles facing the opposite direction. Okay, all right, so step three is now we're going to slip half of these stitches on the bottom edge, on your cast on edge, so that way we're going to slip them purlwise, so that way your top needles and your bottom needles are again facing the same direction. Now you can do this by placing a stitch marker, or you can just count halfway. It should be pretty easy for you to figure out based on the pattern, however many cast on stitches you did. Just divide it in half, and that's how many stitches you're going to purl or slip purlwise, so that way both your needles are facing the other direction. So I'm going to pause while I do that. All right, so I'm almost done, but I'll show you how I'm slipping. So I'm slipping purlwise, I guess, yeah, purlwise from my left hand needle to my right hand needle. And I have 12 more stitches. I apologize for the noise if you can hear. My neighbors are currently having some landscaping done. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So now you'll see we're at that halfway point, and we've got our needles facing the same direction. All right, and now we're on to step 4. The last step of this Mobius fold is going to be what you see here, but yours will look like this, where it's a nice flat tube with that twist in the middle. And you bring your ends together, and you'll see that your top end, bottom end of your tube will now come together. Okay, once you've made it to this step, you're almost done. All you have to do now is the slightly tougher part, which is the Kitchener stitch, and I will show you that next. All right, so for the Kitchener stitch, hopefully your pattern has that included, has it written out in like the notes section or at the end, how the Kitchener stitch works. I will also put it in the steps inside the info section at the bottom of this video in case you need the instructions written out. But anyways, what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a tapestry needle. These are great because they're not pointy, so you won't stab your finger. And then you're going to need a length of yarn. So typically you would leave this length of yarn on the live stitch side where you finished your cowl, you'd leave a length of yarn that's about 3 times the circumference of the tube. However, I was using woolen spun yarn, which I love, and mine snapped off. So I'm going to be taking my length of yarn and doing it like afterwards. So I'll just tuck in my end. So get a lot of yarn for myself. I'm going to just like generally check it. I do a little tail when it happens like this, plus a very liberal loop, right? So I've got my length. Now I'm going to do that 3 times. Okay, and that should be enough yarn. And because it's woolen spun, I can just break it very easy. Okay, so I've got my gigantic tail. I'm gonna thread my needle. All right, so the way I like to think about this is I like to think that, okay, so I've got my tube and I want to make sure that my 2 top needles are kissing, and I've got all my stitches lined up parallel. And what you're gonna do is that now, since we've got technically 4 needles, not that we're gonna use these back 2, but these two needles here on your bottom part of your cowl, your top part of your cowl, these are now going to be front needle, back needle. Okay, so you're going to do your setup, which is let me bring this a little closer to you. You're gonna use your tapestry needle and you're gonna insert your needle purlwise into that first stitch. And if you're like me, you're not going to pull your yarn all the way through. If your yarn is luckily still attached, then you will pull it all the way through. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to leave that first stitch on your needle. Okay, now what you're going to do is insert your needle into that first loop on your back needle, knitwise, and leave it on the needle, and you're going to pull it. I never recommend pulling too tight with the Kitchener stitch, but you do want it to be kind of snug. Okay, so I just do gentle pulls, make sure it's secure. Okay, now that we've done our 2 setup stitches on our front and our back needle, we're going to insert the needle, or sorry, our tapestry needle into the first stitch on the needle knitwise. Okay, and if you're new to the Kitchener stitch, you can pull all the way through, but you are going to pull this first stitch off. Okay, and then go into the purl side of the second stitch. And oop, my yarn is very grabby. You're going to pull all of that yarn through. Okay, so we finished our first stitch. Now we're going to work on the back. So we're going to go purlwise, off, knitwise, leave it on. And I pull all my yarn on the second one. Like I said, when you do your pull off stitch, you're more than welcome to pull your yarn all the way through until you get that rhythm. But I find it's just easier to start off with that pulling off the stitch. So again, front needle, we go knitwise, off, purlwise, on. Oh, the joys of a long tail of yarn. All right, and then we are going on the back needle. We go purlwise, off, knitwise, on. Okay, so you're going to continue to do that around the entire cowl, and once you're finished, I will show you how to make that nice clean finished bind off with the last couple of stitches. Okay. All right, so we've gotten to the last 3 stitches on both the front and the back needle. So I'm going to finish up stitches. Till I have one stitch on both the front and the back. Okay. So now I'm going to go slip that. Oh, I'm just gonna let that hang there. It should be fine. I'm gonna insert it into this first stitch. Pull gently since I got this here. Okay, and then we go in purlwise. And then this gray stitch right here. Knitwise. And I've got my bind off, my Kitchener bind off. And now you can see it's all seamless. You can hardly tell that this is where I seamed it. Compare it to here. Okay. So now I'm going to weave in my ends in this orange little chevron stripe, and I'm good to go. All right, and now you've seen from start to finish how we do the Mobius twist for a Mobius cowl. If you chose to maybe not do this twist and just do an infinity cowl, you would basically skip all those twist instructions and go from step 1 to step 4 and just simply Kitchener graft the two ends of the tube together. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy the Forever You cowl.